Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day, contrary to the trashy market we're seeing here. This is expected though, so you shouldn't be all that surprised. For the most part, that 165 range was the expectation, and it's since blown through that. So our support / liquidation range kind of changed a little bit here. There's not much of a support there, right? The price just keeps going. Keep in mind that liquidation range has been swept, so that's a good sign, generally implying we shouldn't see too much more downside. But again, we've kind of lost this little support shelf, and there's a solid chance we could see somewhere in the 154 to 165 range. Okay, well, already we're ranging at low 160s, but still, the truth is we could see much lower here. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and draw out our larger fibs here, just kind of give us perspective again on roughly where we're at. For this macro type of scenario here, and just give us, some liquidation understanding too in the back end, because it's really important to recognize that. That's generally why we shorted Solana a few days ago rather. Let's take a look here. Quickly to note, this is a trade from 9 days ago, 31% short, AVAX 33% short from the weekend, that was during the weekday, and then a weekend short we had from ICP, there we go. Yeah, ICP, good little short there as well. But yeah, all in all, pretty good. And we also took a long from Caspa. From an older long, we hit all profit targets there when it hit its all-time high at about 2.1 as a close approximate. So what we're looking at here for SOL, no pun intended, but we are needing help. Or SOL, no, sorry, it's not SOS, it's SOL. Which is, something out of luck, right? So let's take a look here at liquidation. First of all, when we look at 160, 165, that was the area of liquidation that we were expecting to get swept. That's all said and done. That's gone now. And we take a look here, there was roughly between 3 to 4 billion in liquidation at 165. So sorry, longs, that's just not a good play, right? It's not a long market, honestly. Even though I keep saying that I want to kind of buy these lower ranges, now that we're here, the way the market's moving, it doesn't make a ton of sense. Now again, if we stabilize and hang out in this 160 range, then I think a long at 160, 165, once we get confirmation, might be appropriate. But everything is on fire right now as far as a trashy fire, not a good fire, and it's not looking good. So next areas of liquidation, just to keep you in mind, these are older areas of liquidation based on our previous lows, essentially, and that's roughly at about 155, down as low as 150. So we got a range of 155 to 150, and there's somewhere in the range, each one of these lines is essentially almost $1 billion. So we're probably somewhere in the range of 3 to 4 billion between 155 and 150. So that is kind of the next area there. So if we do take a look at the charts here, and we recognize 150 to 155, that puts us somewhere in the range here of 150 to 155. So this little guy right here, just below the most recent low, is something we want to kind of pay attention to. So we'll go ahead and pull this guy out here, the previous resistance, or no, correction, that's a previous support. No, that's a previous resistance turn support. Could work as a new support level here as well. So I would say the bottom for Solana is tentatively 155 to 157 for the moment. Keep in mind we got that golden pocket as well around 148 to 146. That's probably more importantly the area in which we'll see a significant bounce or correction. Once more, we may not get there. There's a chance it may not happen, but Bitcoin does look like it wants to fill that CME gap at 59 to 61K as a close approximate. So I would not put I would think that the 150 to 140 range is still very viable at this point. Okay, let's take a look here at the macro, kind of see what's going on now that we've kind of understood a few things. Again, the rising wedge pattern broke down. We got the head and shoulders, kind of a standard breakdown pattern. Now keep in mind, a lot of that hinges on Bitcoin. Bitcoin was exuding very similar structure though, right? And with Solana aligning itself with Bitcoin, it only makes sense that it's pulling back. In fact, it's pulling back a lot harder than a lot of other alts right now. So just got to be mindful of that. It makes sense though, because more profitable coins, when markets dump, they'll dump the fastest because there's a lot of profit to be taken, okay? So keep in mind, folks that are long in the 130 to 140 range, they're still securing profits right now. Okay. All that being said, look at the moving averages. We lost the that's the 20-day SMA quite substantially, quite handily, okay? Having looked at that, we can see the MACD is diverging, stochastic's pulling back. We've lost 50 in the RSI now as well. Granted, today's candlestick hasn't closed yet, but unless we see some type of magnificent rally, we're probably going to close below that, implying bearish divergence. Same thing with money flow index pulling back, of course, a lot of selling pressure. So the daily time frame is truly abysmal. We have some support in the 145 to 155 range with all the moving averages. And my money here is if we were to kind of zoom out and look at the point of control, we're going to see a pretty consistent area here. That's why I have this little green area here on the charts. kind of reflecting the overall point of control for this range. So if we kind of zoom in and look exactly since we've been at just say 125 or higher, we've seen the largest amount of volume in the 130 to 150 range, okay? So once we enter that range, there's a solid chance we're going to see some substantial bounce or substantial support. I think it's going to take a lot of selling pressure. Bitcoin had to come down to the 50 to 55K range, which is still possible. I think it's less likely, but it's still possible in order to get Solana to that level. So all that being said, the daily time frame sucks. There's no other way around it. We have some tentative support in the 148 to 155 range based on A, liquidation, but also B, point of control being there at about the 145 range, okay? So loosely, 145 to 155 is a support range, okay? I'll go ahead and highlight that on our Trade Alerts channel here for our Discord. Of course, this is also coming to Telegram soon as well, but the general consensus is that I like to summarize basically daily whenever I review these coins, kind of give you a perspective on areas of interest. I originally indicated I did want to get in at 165 for a long, but just because you want to get in somewhere that seems at one point unlikely, and now that we're here, everything is screaming bearish divergence, there's really no reason to take a long position. It's really not really worthwhile, okay? And unfortunately, we never got our short at the 176 range. I was hoping the price to rally up to the recent resistance there, that 0.236 fib level, but it didn't happen. Okay, all that being said, 4-hour time frame, where are we at here? Well, we're below all moving averages minus the 200. That's the same scenario for Bitcoin. It's averaging yourself out at 157. So it's kind of reaffirming that support in the 150 to 155 range. We can see more convergence there, so to speak, or more confirming factors that could converge. We've lost 70 on the RSI. Now, when you lose, sorry, that's the 30. When you lose 70 or 30 on the RSI, in other words, let's just say the price breaks above 70 on the RSI, you always wait for the price to come back down before you secure profits, okay? Same thing happens here. Now that we've broken below a key level support, we have to wait for the price action to recover back above 30 before you secure profits. What that basically just means is in the short position, you want to consider not closing your entire position until it crosses back over. So for us, with our community, we've hit a couple of profit targets for Solana. We may want to consider closing the entire rest of the trade, whatever's left remaining, once that crosses over. And the reason for that is just simply put, it's massively overextended in order to break that threshold, and the likelihood of the price action running in that same direction is greater. So I think we have a decent propensity to see Solana continue lower at this point. There's no other way around it. Stochastic's still diverging, MACD is diverging as well. I know a lot of people are probably thinking, well, why not just buy the dip? The truth is, we don't know how dippy this dip's going to be, right? We take a look here, we can see TD sequential, we got a 7. Hypothetically, the way that overextension works with Solana is really common to hit 9s. It's almost perfect. The way that it hits 9s and just reverses itself is super common. So what I'm speculating we're going to see here is that we're going to see a 9 here in the next couple of candles. Basically 8 hours from now, we should have an overextended period for Solana. So wherever the candlestick's at that point, we should experience price action to reverse itself temporarily. Keep in mind, a lot of these 9s here recently for Solana have been temporary and they've only been just little false positives, okay? So I'm not speculating or saying by any stretch you should take a long in 8 hours, but if you do, make sure you keep it tight and you ensure you watch it closely. Don't just set it to the moon. Nobody should ever set anything to the moon. That's just what moon boys say. Realistic traders are going to tell you that it's a dumb idea to take a long right now. There's no other way around it. Again, hindsight's 2020. I wanted to buy the support range previously, but now that we're below it, we can only presume this is going to be a resistance for us now. 165, the most recent high, 165/166, is going to be the new resistance, okay? And I misspoke, it's actually the most recent low. This is supposed to have worked as a support. Now that we've broken it, it's going to work as a resistance. So price action is going to do one of these in all actuality if things play out the way they should and we don't see some monumental recovery from Bitcoin. I really don't think we're going to see that though. There's too much selling pressure, not enough buying pressure, and it's just kind of getting out of control. So again, head and shoulders pattern played out. We got our 0.5 fib at 157, previous support turned resistance turned support at 155, and a key liquidation level between 150 and 155. So again, my money's on 146 to 157 being a solid area of support. Again, a lot more than just the local low, right? Again, we didn't get that double bottom. That's okay. Price moves on, you move on as well with it. So last thing we want to look at here is the hourly and just clarify two things. First of all, in the hourly, I like to look at the point of control, or more importantly, the local point of control. We'll look at that here in a minute. But the primary thing, of course, is the Ichimoku cloud. If you're not familiar with this, I got to walk through on it. It's probably one of the best indicators to use as a swing trader. And the reason why is because it gives you indication as to when you should consider securing profits. In this case here, this green guy here, this is a lagging span, free and clear of the price action. It needs to intersect with the price to be able to be like, okay, we've shifted momentum, right? That's probably not going to be another 20, 40, 48 hours, folks. So if you're considering a long right now and you're foaming at the mouth, you probably shouldn't do it. Lagging span, again, is free and clear. The conversion line is below the baseline, showing we got strong momentum. We've also got the cloud itself kind of hanging out in the 170 range. So if for some reason or another the price does recover up to 176, absolutely a strong consideration for a short. You can see my alert here set from yesterday to kind of basically consider a blind short at that level, because that was a key level resistance. That was the 0.618 fib level on the more micro movement here for the recent downtrend. So that would have been a perfect opportunity. Again, you never truly always get those opportunities, as we can see here. The price continued to run, but no matter how you look at it, there's no reason to take a long. Also, furthermore, if we take a look at our TPO, this is a time price opportunity. This basically just tells us in the last 24 hours, well, or less roughly, we haven't traded for 24 hours, but in this trading period, since the clock reset and the daily candlestick started, we can see we got a strong amount of support, or in this case resistance rather, at 168, 169. In other words, we see the most amount of buying pressure at that level, implying there's the most interest there. Therefore, if the price does recover back up to that level, that is a strong consideration for a short. Or the price breaks through that level, retests it bullishly, then we could possibly see that being a long. But there's no reason to consider a long ever in this market right now the way that it is. Okay. So again, that's the common rule of thumb here. Obviously, it's just the way that it is. The market's kind of trash. But if we do look at from yesterday, I don't know why I'm proud of this, but I love the airplane crashing concept. I'm not sadistic by any stretch, but if you take a look here, of course, we were expecting the price to recover that 0.618 fib level, 176, take a short, Bob's your uncle, would have been fine. Now we've blasted straight through that lower support range, and it's all done. Okay, so simply put, wait to take a long position, or you shouldn't take a long at the very least for another 2 trading days, because it's going to take a long time to get confirmation on a long position. Okay. Or, hypothetically, if the price does end up coming back down to just say 146, buying a macro golden pocket is generally a good thing. Okay, so hypothetically, we get a liquidation event down to like 149, 148, and we see that all this liquidation here gets swept. That would be a cause for consideration to buy that dip, only because it's likely to recover swiftly, at least for a short amount of time. I hope I described that correctly. I'm sorry. Sometimes I start talking in circles and people are like, what the hell are you talking about? But these things are all extremely important. I just like to inundate you with positive, more beneficial information so you can come to your own conclusion and use good risk tolerance when taking trades, because it's terrible. We've got a lot of people coming over to our community who have recently got destroyed by watching and taking a bunch of longs at the top from Moon Boys, who are literally just telling you what they want you to hear because they're getting paid by sponsors. It's so stupid. At this point here, again, if you want to join our community, it's all there for you. Oh, last but not least, of course, and ensure you take advantage of this here. Bitunix, phenomenal exchange, link down below, no KYC or VPN. They have a deposit bonus right now. You get a substantial amount of deposit rewards. Use my link to register. If you've used my link previously, feel free to use that. They bring these benefits to us every couple months, so it's really nice. So just ensure you get some rewards there too. It's cool stuff. All right. Thanks so much for your time, folks. Don't forget to like the button and comment below if you get a chance. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.